Hey everyone, Ali Mumo here. So today we're gonna talk about the new banner unit, Marciana, and what I think of her as a healer overall, and whether or not it's worth it for you to pull for her right now. So first of all, she is a shotgun unit with ammo capacity 9 and a 1.5 second reload time. So the reload time is pretty average. It's not the fastest, but it's also not slow like the 2-second ones. Um, Ammo capacity 9 is actually pretty high for what she does, which we'll get into later when we talk about her skill kit. Her damage overall is pretty average, there's nothing special here. And she's a support unit. So let's quickly go over the skills. For skill 1, I think this is basically her main form of healing to the party. Activates when the last bullet hits the target, and it does a life steal. At level 10 it does almost 11%. If you leveled it up to level 4 it's around 8% ish, a little less than 8%, and it's just 3 seconds. So, and then it also, the second effect activates when the last bullet hits the target, affects 2 ally units with the highest attack. HP potency is just extra healing, so it'll be whatever lifesteal they do plus 26.98% for 3 seconds. So this, you can kind of see these two as together for your DPS units, and for other support units and defenders and stuff, this actually doesn't really do too much, because they don't really do too much damage in general, unless they're like special units like 2P or Summer Anise. So her skill 2 is School Nurse. This is basically like your typical healer's burst skill. It activates when using burst skill. Take note that this is only when she uses the burst. If you use some other burst 2's burst, this shouldn't apply. So, and it affects all allies, 28.1%. It's pretty average, you know, it's maybe even on the lower end. So I think the more reliable part of her healing is still at the skill 1. And then her burst skill is Teacher's Grace. Same thing, affects all allies, and it creates a storage effect. This is basically like overheal. So for example, if she activates her burst and she uses the skill 2 passive and recovers the HP for your allies, but your allies are at full HP, it'll store this excess amount of healing up to 27.87% of her max HP, and it'll store it for 10 seconds. So you'll have like it's almost like an extra bit of shield. But yeah, I like in practical use I haven't really noticed it too much. It's just there. It's good to have, but you know, it's not something too groundbreaking. Even though it's a new skill that I've never seen before on other Nikkes. The defense up, I mean, it's just there. I don't. Yeah, it's not too much. So, being a burst 2 unit and a healer, this is actually pretty special, and I think she is the second Nikke with this kind of effect, the first one being Nor. And honestly, I don't really remember any other burst 2 Nikkes with healing skills. Even if there is, maybe nothing too significant. From the skills you can tell that she is a full healer, and the healing mostly come from her burst and her skill 1, again the lifesteal. And I feel like the only units that could really take advantage of this part of the healing is the DPS. So let's take her to the guild shooting range and let's see how her healing is overall, and whether or not she is able to solo sustain an entire team, for example. I'll use A2 in this situation to see how much healing she does. I feel like this is a pretty good benchmark overall, because it's a consistent drop in HP once she does her burst. And if Marciana is able to keep her HP up for the duration of the fight, I would say that her overall healing would be pretty good. But if she can't, then maybe you need to consider getting another healer on top of just her. So my Marciana right now is at a skill 441. I didn't really upgrade this one because I feel like this is not too important. These two, level 4, I feel like that's a pretty good place to stop for low investment. And mine's 0 LB, so let's see. Okay, notice how so every time she reloads the whole clip. So there's no way to cancel the reload animation midway so that she only reloads 3. So this makes her skill 1 activate a bit less frequent than, like, for example, with Pepper. So far we see that 2B is losing HP a bit more than she's healing. Okay, you see the green bar? The green bar is the overheal. So I'm not sure how exactly it works, like in terms of the UI, but I think if it's grayed out, that means it's not. Oh, you see that A2 lost her mode B. She just got it back just now because she activated it again. But earlier, you see how like the Marciana's healing wasn't exactly enough to keep her in mode B. Yeah, so I mean, overall, it seems like she's barely able to keep her within the mode B. And if A2, yeah, if A2 doesn't hit multiple targets, yep, see, she dropped it again. So, yeah, so that's just a quick look at her overall healing. I mean, we saw that she dropped twice because, you know, the longer the fight is, the less she is able to sustain A2 while she has the burst mode on. So it's at like just 2%, like almost 3% difference in lifesteal. I don't think it's enough to make such a huge difference. I mean, maybe it will, but I just don't really think it's worth it to invest that heavily on a healer overall. So I think maybe you'll need 2 healers to keep A2 up, like at a healthier range, because at this range, like we're just doing the shooting range, and she's not taking any extra damage. If she's taking extra damage, she might even get lower than that, and she might drop out of her mode B even quicker. So another idea I have is, because of her ammo clip size, I think she actually does well with last hit teams, and the core for last hit teams would be Privity, which actually goes well with Cimmerianus as well. So let's switch Guilty out for Privity, and let's see if this could improve Marciana's performance overall. So we're switching to Privity. I mean, Privity is a free unit. You can get a copy of her like by doing the newcomer quest, and yeah. So this actually everybody would have her. Okay, so she goes down to 4 clips with Privity. This is good because this shortens her healing down by half at least. Not to mention the reload speed, so it's actually a lot quicker. So maybe you'll have like almost 100% uptime with the lifesteal. And you could see that, well, we can't really tell yet, but it seems like A2 is able to sustain herself a bit better. At least she's not dropping down to very low HP right away. And it seems like each burst cycle she's actually able to recover a fair amount of HP back. Yeah, so she's almost about like where she was at earlier before the burst. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, so now she's actually slowly gaining more and more HP. I mean, it's a little RNG too, because it depends on how many units she hits and how much she lifesteals. But I feel like with Privity, Marciana's performance actually goes up quite a bit. And you can see that A2 has not dropped her stacks at all. No, I mean her mode B for the entire duration of the fight compared to earlier, where she dropped it twice. So this is actually a pretty big improvement, I would say. Even the end HP is a little bit higher than before. So I would say that Marciana would do very well in last hit teams with Privity. So, I mean, Dorsey, Marciana, Summer Anis, Privity, they're all like last hitters, so I feel like this would actually be a good team. I mean, A2 is just here for tests, so I mean, normally I don't think you would put A2 in this kind of team to begin with. But I mean, it is an option, and we can see that the performance of Marciana's healing is actually increased quite a bit, and the consistency is a lot better when we have Privity in the party. So now, just as a comparison, we could try to test the healing amount from, say, Summer Mary, and let's see if another 20-second cooldown healer is able to sustain A2's mode B, or whether or not they're not able to. And as for the burst 2, we'll just get a random burst 2 rocket launcher, and that should be fine. So let's see what happens. Okay, she started her mode B. Summer Mary is not really good at healing in the beginning. She's kind of like a slow starter. Her healing doesn't really become very significant until the third time we get full burst. So here is the second full burst. We could see that it's barely keeping up with the mode B, and mode B is slowly losing more and more HP, and the healing might not be enough. Well, we might see it drop. Yep, see it dropped. But yeah, but it wasn't for too long. She got her mode B back pretty quickly. And with the third full burst, I think the healing is actually enough to sustain her A2 for the rest of the fight. Yeah, but oh, okay, well it's actually healing quite a bit. But it's kind of about the same performance as well, slightly better performance than Marciana. Well, she dropped it in the end too, so that's 2 drops on the mode B as well. So a pretty similar performance to Marciana without Privity, I would say. So unfortunately, she's not able to solo sustain either. I mean, she's not very invested either. But the healing skills are also level 4. So with Summer Mary, she's a bit of a slow starter. So if you put her in guild battles or solo raids, I would say that she might not be able to fully sustain A2 by herself, but after the third full burst, I think maybe she can. But I mean, that's, you know, the first 1.5 minutes, A2 will drop mode B quite a bit, so you know, that's actually not as good as Marciana and Privity. So, you know, take that as what you will. but I think overall Marciana's healing is actually pretty decent. Yeah, and yeah, and then one other thing with Marciana though is that because of her skill 1, this lifesteal being only 3 seconds, there is another situation where sometimes when she activates this passive for her allies, if the ally is reloading, there is a very high chance that they might not even be able to take advantage of this lifesteal for, like maybe even the entire duration, or at least like half of the duration, which would really drop the healing amount. So if you unfortunately run into this type of timing issue 2 or 3 times in a row, then your character might not be able to sustain themselves. So that is also something to watch out for. But I think with Privity in the team, this could be avoided to a pretty big degree, so it's not as much downtime. But I mean, it's still an issue overall. And plus, the burst healing is actually just okay, not the greatest in the world. So you really need her to have the lifesteal going as much as possible. Yeah. So in terms of whether or not I think she is worth pulling, I think she is worth pulling if you don't have too much healers. So if you have, say, Rapunzel, Emma, Noise, if you've pulled Summer, Mary, I think if you have like these four already, I think Marciana's priority is a bit low, especially since she is just a regular unit, not really a limited unit. So after the special banner is gone, you can actually pull her from the regular banner and you could just put her on wish list and you could get her that way. If you are hurting for healers, let's say like you couldn't make 2 or 3 teams with decent healers, I would say you could consider pulling for Marciana now, but I think the only reason you would do that is for guild battles or solo raids. I don't think you would need her that much for PvE right now. So I mean, it's kind of it's if you're a free to play or you're just like a month card user, I would say maybe hold off if you don't have too many gems or tickets, or if you don't have that much gold tickets, I would say yeah, it's probably not necessary to get her right now, because I mean you could always just get her later on in the ordinary recruit, because you could just put her on the wish list and you could get her that way. So I don't think there's a huge rush, and even if you want to get her now, I would only suggest getting her 1 copy, and I would not suggest going max limit break because the anniversary is coming up, and also we have 2 new units that are coming up, Naga and Tia, which are actually like a second bunny girl combo. So I think these two are actually really good from what we see so far, and I think they might be worth waiting for. Also, we don't know what's coming up in anniversary, and this could just be a trap to take all of our gems before the anniversary rolls around, and you'll need to spend some money. So yeah, my suggestion is either hold off now, or if you really need a healer, get 1 copy and try to save up for the future units. Because I think Naga and Tia are actually going to be a lot more game changing for you than just a healer, because I mean overall, like Yeah, healers are nice to have, but they're not necessarily, the main part of your team. Overall, I would rather get something like a stronger DPS or some like significant supports like Nagatia or Blanc and more. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about Marciana. Let me know what you guys think, and do you guys think Marciana's worth pulling? Is she not worth pulling? And if you guys like my content and would like to see future reviews of new Nikke units, yeah, give me a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.